Hello students, let's continue with the first chapter of your encryption part. So in the last lecture we have finished with security attack, security mechanism. So let's move ahead and we'll try to find out certain certain encryption techniques which are there in the literature. So we'll just have a recap. What was a security mechanism? It is a feature designed to detect, prevent, and recover from a security attack. No single mechanism that will support all the services required. So if you remember, we had said that we should achieve a security goal, that is a confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So to achieve all these goals, what are the services which you are providing, through which mechanism those services will be achieved? Most of the time we say it will be always a combination of more than one mechanisms. So one particular element which will be always there in all these mechanisms is a cryptographic technique. So I think till now we have not discussed the word crypto. In a Greek it means secret. So anything which you are doing it secretly, anything which you are doing it to keep your message or information secret becomes your cryptographic. So we are going to study what are the different techniques in which we can achieve this. So we will be dealing with these all cryptographic techniques. So let's see first the model for network security. Now why network security has been included, because I remember we have said that our main focus is on the internet security. Okay, so when you say internet security, it is the way the message travel through a different networks. So there will be multiple types of network, millions of PCs through which your message will be traveling. So how are you guarantee that your information will be secure? So let us try to divide the internet security in a small part. So we will consider one particular network here, where we have a sender which will having a message, and then you have certain information which you want to keep secret. See, there are certain messages, there are certain information for we, if they are public, if everybody knows that, it doesn't matter. But definitely there will be some part of the information which I want that it should be secretly passed to another person. So you have a secret information and somehow according to you, you have made it secure. So you have security message here. Now this is the information channel through which you will be sending your message. So it can be through net, it can be through Wi-Fi, it can be through any medium by which the message can travel, by which the information can travel. So you have this information channel, and in ideal condition your message will be secure, so you need not worry about it. And then the other person knows how to retrieve the information from this particular box. Or for example, if I say that this particular person has kept a particular letter in a box and locked it, so this locked box goes through a channel, and this receiver also has the same key, so it opens that box and read the letter which is there inside. So this is your ideal condition. Now if I want to find out what information you have passed, so I become an opponent, and where do I have a chance to hack your information or to retrieve the message? So in this information channel. Okay, so whenever the message is going to pass through that information channel, I stand a chance to retrieve it. So normally what happens is, this information channel, the security is taken care by trusted third party. Okay, so but this will do a job for you only if you are paying for his services. Okay, so both the receiver and the sender should agree that I will be, I mean, this third party will be doing a job for us of securing the information. So that is the reason it is written as trusted third party. That is, the job is given to a third party, that the channel will be secure and it will take care that your message is going properly. So what do you require for this particular ideal mechanism? Or design a suitable algorithm for the security transformation. So when I put this letter into a box, that is my security transformation. I assume that that particular wooden box for which I have a lock and key, it is a secured transformation. Generate the secret information used by algorithm. That is the key which I hold it. Developer methods to distribute and share the secret information. So you have to find out how can I send a secret message, whether I can use a coding, whether I can use any modulation technique. So find out in which you can pass this information. So in this particular scenario, secret information is, suppose this message has been coded here, the key becomes my secret information. So I should share the same key with the recipient, or I should assume that receiver already has a key. If you are using a numerical log, then I'll be sharing those 3-digit number with the receiver. Specify a protocol enabling the principals to use the transformation and secret information for a security service. So when you're giving it to the third party, you should tell them that what kind of a box, I mean, how are you sending that information, whether it's a very fragile information only once it has been taken out, in what kind of a form you are sending the information. So specify a protocol is nothing but a set of rules. So you are defining the rules how you are going to send the information. Now this was regarding the network. Now when a channel comes to my particular PC where I have this information system, where I have data, where I have processes, where I have a software, I should have somebody who will keep a watch on this channel. Okay, so the opponent for this particular channel can be a human who is a hacker or a cracker, or a software, a virus or something which can, hack my system, which can shut down my system. So gatekeeper function is something, but normally we have a firewall, what we include an antivirus and all. So in a way, this mechanism should be there near the end systems. What do you require for this? Appropriate gatekeeper functions to identify users. So when I'm keeping a firewall, when I'm installing the antivirus, I should tell them that what kind of attack I'm expecting, what kind of a users it should block, what kind of website it should block. Implement the security controls. So we have discussed this. Implement the security controls to ensure only authorized user access the designated information. See, if I'm sharing my particular PC, I should have a security, or I should implement in this a software so that you're able to access only part which you are supposed to do. For example, I have kept B drive open for the user. So you are coming to my PC, you are able to access one drive of my computer, but which drive has been specified by me, and if you click any other thing for the software, it should be disabled one. Trusted computer system may be useful to help implement this model. So trusted computer system is nothing but I can give this job to a third party. If I don't understand any mechanism, if I don't understand how the things work, let me give it to a third party whom we trust that they will be able to do this job properly. Now the very important slide, or very important points now. What are the basic terminology which we'll be using throughout our subset? Plain text, it is an original message without any processing on it. Ciphertext, it is a coded message. When I implement the my algorithms, when I do the encryption, we will see what I mean by encryption. That becomes my coded message. So in normal, we should always remember that plain text we will always write it in a small letters. That indicates the plain text, whereas ciphertext will be always written in a capital letter. So this also you should remember. Cipher, very important term. Cipher indicates the algorithm for transforming plain text to a ciphertext. So when I have a plain text, what is the way in which I'm going to convert from plain language to a coded language? Key, info used in cipher, that is the algorithm, known only to a sender and receiver. See, here you have to understand a very basic concept. The algorithm which you are using will be known to everybody. As I told you, the message when you code it, it will be visible for everybody. But what is the way in which you have coded, which is called as a key, should be known only to sender and receiver. So we believe more that making algorithm public and key as a private. Encipher or encrypt. So this procedure of converting the plain text to the ciphertext is called as encrypt, or more commonly it is referred as encryption. That I'm converting the plain text into a coded language or in the ciphertext. Decipher or decipher or a decrypt, recovering my ciphertext from the plain text. At the receiver, I know the system should able to take the ciphertext, find out, or it already has the shared key, and implement that shared key on the ciphertext to get your plain text back. Cryptography. It is nothing but study of encryption principles and methods. So whatever algorithms gives you from plain text, it converts into a ciphertext. All those things are studied under cryptography. Crypto analysis or a code breaking. Study of principles and methods of deciphering the ciphertext without knowing the key. That means if I don't know the key but I know the algorithm which they have used. So I have the knowledge of the principle which has been gone into the encryption. So then I will use this knowledge to decryption of the messages or for the decryption purpose. This entire thing is called as a cryptanalysis. Cryptanalysis. What is a cryptology? Both cryptography and cryptanalysis, because you are learning how to code your messages, you are learning how to decode your messages. Now in general the classification, so the cryptography is the main branch you have. So we have symmetric key cryptography and asymmetric key cryptography. So symmetric is nothing but whatever the word indicates, whatever methods I follow to encrypt the data to implement the crypto algorithm on the given data. Reverse procedure should be followed when I do the symmetric crypto. Asymmetric is when I don't follow exactly the same procedure as the encryption. So symmetric key has been divided into two types: classical cryptography and the modern cryptography. So what is a classical? We may feel that we are using the cryptography now, but let me tell you, it is used from a long time. I mean, basically, whenever there was a military people have used this cryptography from a very long time. Okay. So classical cryptography gives you two types again: transposition cipher and substitution cipher. And modern cryptography gives you a stream cipher and a block cipher. So what is a transposition cipher here? Transposition cipher tells you that whenever I'm going to encode a message, it will be rearrangement of the letter. I'm not going to replace any letter. Whatever message you give me, I will have to rearrange in a particular order. So transposition, the algorithm is, everybody knows, rearrangement of the letter. What is the key? In what manner, in what way you are going to rearrange, that is your key. Substitution, as the name suggests, you are going to substitute one character for another character, one symbol for another symbol. Substitution, algorithm is public, the letters or the symbols have been replaced. Replaced by what? What is the uniformity? Well, they have been replaced, is my substitution cipher. Stream cipher, as and when the symbol come, as and when the characters come, the encoding will happen. Block cipher, I club certain symbols, I club certain characters, and then I go for a encryption technique, that is a block cipher. In the asymmetric key crafting, apart from the, I mean, in this only you have public key and private key. So as and when we will be studying ahead, we will be studying more detailing about all these techniques. So I can again say the classification can be based on independent dimension. For example, the type of operation. I told you substitution is you are substituting one symbol with the other. Transposition, rearrangement of the letter. The number of keys. Symmetric, mostly we go for a single key. Asymmetric, we mostly go for a two keys, one public key or private key. The way in which plain text is blocked, when I take a group of ciphers to a group of character, group of symbol together, it becomes block. When I work with the individual letters, individual characters, it becomes string. So same concept has been explained with the two different pictorial representation. So now let us see what is a block diagram for a symmetric encryption. So remember, symmetric encryption is the same procedure or the same key will be used at the receiver side or what the decryption. So here I have a plain text input, might be a page of a book or a sentence that is denoted by X, then a secret key shared by the sender, and I have a encryption algorithm here. So here one example of encryption algorithm has been given, that is an advanced encryption system. So I use the key is denoted by K. So a ciphertext can be indicated by Y, which is nothing but Y is equal to E, that is encryption of key will be K and the message will be X. So remember the way it is written, key comma message. So same key has been used. So how do I get my this plain text back? So I write X is equal to, that is your original message is equal to decryption with the same key of the encoded message. So you get your plain text back. A symmetric crypto system, or now in the more detailing of this, you have a message source and you give an encryption algorithm. You have a key source that you have a multiple options to use the key. So you select one, and now this key should be passed through a secure channel, because we are assuming that the sender and the receiver are sharing the same key. So it is equally important to share your key in a secure manner. So I have Y here, encryption algorithm, and then I have key here with the plain message. So cryptanalysis has idea that you have used encryption. It knows which algorithm you have followed, but it will keep on guessing the key. Okay. So for example, it has been showed with K cap. So the message which can be a X cap. Okay. So you give it to the decryption algorithm, you get your original message back, and you give it to the destination. Now see the two difference between the two attacks, cryptanalysis and brute force. Brute force attack, it is a very general attack. It is the people like you and me also will try this brute force attack, or we once or twice we have tried already, and we will be implementing this brute force attack in the software also. So I hope I want that everybody should understand this. Cryptanalysis attack relies on the nature of the algorithm plus some knowledge of the general characteristics of the plain text. So when I say nature of the algorithm, that means you should know which cipher, transposition, substitution. Okay. So you found out that the substitution cipher has been used, where it is written that a particular symbol has been replaced. Now what is the meaning of general characteristics of the plain text? So when I write the plain text, suppose if it is an English language, so if you go through a different literature, you will find E symbol, E alphabet is used many times. So what do I do in my coded word? I try to find out which letter, which symbol has appeared many times. So I do some sort of study on this. So that is to find out the general characteristic of plain text. Attacker exploits the characteristics of the algorithm to attempt to deduce a specific plain text or to deduce the key being used. So I try to guess. I know that E will be repeated times. So whichever symbol has occurred many times, I replace that particular symbol in the code word or the coded message by E. And then I try to find out whether it is matching, and I try to guess the key. What is a brute force attack you have? Here the attacker tries every possible key on a piece of ciphertext until an intelligible translation into plain text is obtained. On an average, half of all possible keys must be tried to achieve the success. Now for example, suppose when I told you that substitution cipher, I am going to replace certain symbol. So suppose the message is Anita, and I tell you that substitution cipher has been used. So you know that if the coded message is Anita, so A has to be replaced by how many letters? In the English language, you have 26 alphabet. So A is there. So you try to replace this A with all the other 25 alphabets. So you carry on this procedure for all the remaining alphabets and see where does you get a meaningful word back. Whichever way, suppose for example, I get it at B. I get a meaningful message after fifth substitution. So B has been, I tried C, I tried D, I tried E, I tried, and F is giving me a meaningful translation. So at that time I say that okay, fifth might be the key, and then I try to decipher the entire sentence. So this also we will be trying. It is a very general attack, and you have to take care that you should not be fail to this brute force attack. So similarly, certain more types of attacks has been mentioned, starting from the, if you know only the ciphertext. So what should be known, or what is known to the cryptanalysis? So encryption algorithm, because I already told, normally the algorithms are public. So the analyst already has what is a method which you have used, and he knows the ciphertext. So plain text, known plain text. So you know what way the encryption has been done. You can have ciphertext by implementing all the known encryption algorithm, and then you can check for which ciphertext your plain text is matching. So we will be doing this, or I'll suggest that you go through this type of attacks and try to understand on your own. So encryption system scheme security. One is unconditionally secure, that no matter how much time an opponent has, it is impossible for him or her to decrypt the ciphertext simply because the required information is not there. That means I'm making sure that I'm making my system so robust that whatever the person tries, how much time it has, or how much time he explores in finding out the keys, it is simply not possible. That is unconditionally secure. That is, you have achieved the highest level of security. Other, you have computationally secure. See the word here, computationally. What does that mean? The cost of breaking the cipher exceeds the volume of exceeds the value of encrypted information. That means you have spent so much time in doing that, that information is not so much worth. Okay, the time required to break the cipher exceeds the useful lifetime of the information. For example, in general language term, if I'm buying something from Amazon of 100 rupees, and then I have to do the shipping fee or the courier charges is 500, it is no use of asking that 100 rupees goods to me. So this is called as a computationally secure. So you have a higher security, but then you make sure that the person who is spending so much time will not, your information is not so worth. So you are on the safer side. That is called as a computationally secure. So I hope in this first particular chapter, all the basic terminology, classification and everything is clear to you. So probably I'll be giving one link here so that you can watch the video, that is Introduction to Cryptography, where you will understand, or if possible, I will try to include that video in the next slides, or in the next video, YouTube video which is available. So I hope the basic terms are clear to everybody. Next time onwards, when we use cipher, substitution, transposition, you will not give a blank face. Now I will not be able to see you, because when you are listening to the video, I hope you are quite ready for the next video sessions. So thank you.